Hi, my name is Pete Nealon. I am product manager here at Tulip. I work with data and workflows primarily. And today we're going to look at the HMI interface that we have here that shows how Tulip integrates with machine monitoring and the rest of your shop to really accelerate how information gets to the hands of the people who need it and the people who are building parts day in and day out. What we have here to start with, again, is it's called an HMI. The more technical term, or the full term, is Human Machine Interface. This is something that you can picture attached to equipment, a machine. It might actually be built into the machine, or it might be a display tablet or some other display attached to the machine. With DMG Mori CELOS machines, Tulip comes built in, and this is what you can see right on the display. What this is a combination of a lot of different information that people need to do their jobs when they're making parts at a machine. Traditionally, this information is really hard to come by. So this is information about like what is your machine doing, but also what job are you working on, maybe notes that you got from the previous operator, all kinds of information about what is necessary for the job at hand. I've worked at some places where this has actually been 3 or 4 different computers scattered across a facility, where if I want to send an email to get help, I need to go somewhere else. Or if I want to get information about what tooling I need, I have to go walk across the facility or across my cell. So this looks simple, but that's kind of the point. It brings a lot of information together at the fingertips of an operator. So what we have here on the left is information about your current job. This has images. You can interact and maybe add the parts here. You could have information about what material or quantity needed. This whole side is configurable because it's just a Tulip app, right? So this is just what we think is a useful starting point, but it could be anything. It could be a bigger image, it could be videos, anything to help you with your job. As we move over, we see more information about the machine itself. So we can see what the status of this machine is. We can see the history over the last hour or so, or whatever you want to set it to. You can see the downtime. If we want to review the most recent downtime, we can look at this and maybe make a change and say that this was for changeover, for example. And then down here is a very interesting section where, again, this can be customized to whatever it needs to be, but in this example, we're going to request assistance just by selecting maybe an option. This is an urgent request, and I need more info, and I'll request assistance. You'll see here that the machine itself is flagged with a symbol and more info needed. We have dashboards across the shop where this will also show up, so if you're a supervisor walking around the shop and this comes up, you can then quickly decide whether you need to act or not. Also from here, we can view more than one machine, because it's probably unlikely nowadays that you have one person per machine, so you might have a cell or a group of machines that are all collecting data. So I can go and switch to a different machine or look at the ones that I have available to me, log into that one, see information about the job that machine is running, and again, repeat the process of interacting and understanding what the kind of data I have available. The other key piece here is that I can review upcoming jobs. So if that machine is running well and the job's going as planned, I can start to get ahead of things and look to see what other type of jobs might be coming, and I can cycle through those, maybe get the tooling ready ahead of time. This could be integrated with the entire shop of Tulip apps, and there may be other pieces of information that you can send off to people to get ready and to get ahead of what you're working on. So if I wanted to start a job, I could start it from here as well. Or if I identified a problem while the other job is running, I could say this machine is not going to be ready in time, or anything that you need to communicate back to the people who might be in charge of scheduling so they can adjust. Talking about the dashboard we mentioned earlier, this is a dashboard that you could have up on your shop. It's also available here at the terminal if you really wanted to. It shows information about the plant and what might be going on today with key metrics like OEE and availability and performance and quality. Over time, you can see those same metrics, and then you can see the downtime as well. And then, as before, you can see that this machine is flagged for more information needed. So what we have here is a CELOS interface for DMG Mori machines. It's a beautiful interface with a lot of good information, and what's great about it is that Tulip is built right in. So any CELOS machine has the ability to have a fully integrated set of Tulip apps that can pull information from the machine, but also anywhere else in the Tulip ecosystem and anywhere else that you might be using Tulip for. So starting here, we're going to go to the Tulip player. And right here, what we see is Tulip embedded into the CELOS interface. So what you have is the normal interface that comes with the machine, and then you have essentially a Tulip app right here. So this is an HMI, like you might see in other places, a human machine interface, has information specific about this machine, but again, it's a Tulip app that could be anything. In this case, we have it set up specifically for tracking performance about this machine and for sending notes and for taking pictures, which I'll show in a minute. To start with, on the left, we have the current status, some information about how long this machine has been down or up or however, whatever status that it's in, some image information, a few gauges that will show you the current state of things when you're maybe across the shop or something like that, and then the history of uptime. I could also review the uptime and downtime here, make a change to decide why this machine is down. Here we have the current KPIs for the week. So this can track any number of KPIs that you may be interested in. Right now it's set up for some pretty common machine monitoring applications, which are OEE, which includes availability, performance, and quality. And then on the right, we can decide to add parts or notify if there's a defect or change the run rate. Now, Tulip really excels when you combine the machine information automatically with the knowledge that a person has, right? So defects from the machine are not always clear. It's the person who's looking at it and making that decision. So Tulip allows the two to be merged together and to really capture those key insights from the person who's standing at this machine making the parts. What's really interesting about this integration, though, is that I can maybe couple it with an iPad to get even more information and make it even easier to combine information about what we're collecting here. So in this example, I'm going to add a note. First part is good. Now it's prompting me for an image for this note. So if I want to add an image, I can say yes, and it's going to pull up this QR code. And that's where the iPad comes into play. So on this iPad, I can use it as a companion to this interface to scan the QR code and pair it with the note I just took. So as great as this interface is, it's still attached to the machine, where this is something I can move around and go in and take maybe a picture of the part as it's over here. So I can take this picture, and as I click store, it'll show up right on the display. It's now added to the notes that I just logged with this interface. So I hit complete, and see what I just left. I can also cycle through any other images or notes that someone had left me. And really, the sky's the limit on how you want to combine all this information about requesting help or gathering information or really streamlining how this knowledge goes back and forth to make the job run smoother. Like I said before, this is really just a Tulip app running. So we could have a suite of different apps embedded in this interface. We have the shift notes, which we just saw. We have the machine terminal, which we saw as well. But we could add anything that makes sense, anything that helps the process that's intended to be performed at the station. And I can view analytics for this machine over time. This could be anything you want. It's just Tulip analytics. We see some downtime reasons, a graph on uptime, and then the current status. So that concludes our machine monitoring demo with DMG Mori. Today we looked at a few different ways that you can have an HMI using Tulip for your machines. That could be an advanced HMI integrated into the CELOS display with DMG Mori machines, or it could be on any other display that you have running Tulip apps that works with older machines or machines that don't have this nice display here. We also learned how you can show dashboards with the same information, have fully integrated with the information coming off of these machines, and request help using notifications that will show up on these dashboards or be sent directly to the person who needs it. The last thing we looked at is how you can pair any tablet with a Tulip app to really augment the experience of this operator for collecting images or capturing any kind of valid information or valuable information that someone may need while they're doing this job that you might not necessarily be able to do with a fixed display.